أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 298, Surah Al-Muddaththir, ayah number 1 to 56. Surah Al-Muddaththir is a Makki surah and it has 56 verses, 255 words and about 1000 huruf. And the primary theme of this surah, just like the theme of this juz, is Da'wah ilallah. And in particular in this surah, what is mentioned is the responsibilities, or rather the character that a da'i must possess. What is it that the da'i must focus on in his self-improvement as well as when he is calling people to Allah? What should he focus on? This surah has those ayat at the beginning which were in fact the second revelation. So it is of those surahs which were revealed at a very early part in the Meccan era. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ya ayyuhal muddaththir, O you who covers himself with a garment. Qum fa'anzir, stand and warn. Ya ayyuhal muddaththir, al-muddaththir is actually mutadaththir. From the root letters, dal, tha, ra. Dithar is a warm cloak or a warm shawl that is worn on top of one's clothes. Why? In order to keep oneself warm. And dithar is also used for a blanket that a person uses when he is lying down, when he is sleeping. Why? In order to keep warm. So muddaththir is one who is wrapped up in his shawl, one who is wrapped up in his blanket. Why? Because he is cold, so he wants to be warm. Sometimes people are cold. Why? Because the temperature, the weather is like that. And other times people are cold. Why? Because they're afraid. That also happens because of the weakness that a person is feeling inside. A person begins to shiver. He is cold. So the Prophet ﷺ, why is he called Al-Muddaththir over here? Because when the surah was revealed to him, he had covered himself up in a blanket. We learn that when the wahi was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ, the first revelation, after that there was a long gap when finally the second revelation was sent to him. And we learn that the Prophet ﷺ, during this period, when there was no more revelation coming to him, he was very afraid and he was also concerned and he was worried, to the point that we learn in Ibn Jarir al-Tabari, he has written that revelation to the Prophet ﷺ remained suspended for quite some time. And it was such a period of deep grief and distress for him. Why do you think it was very difficult for him to bear that? Why would he be worried and upset and sad? Because in the first revelation, what was he told? Iqra bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. And then the angel appeared to him and then he was told that he was a prophet, and all of a sudden, no more news sometimes means good news, but sometimes it keeps you in the loop and you're wondering what's going on. So this period was extremely difficult on the Prophet ﷺ. He knew that he was a prophet, but he didn't know what he was supposed to do. How was he to warn? What was he to tell people? So this period was of deep grief and distress for him, so much so that he started going early to the tops of the mountains in order to throw himself down from them. Because it was so difficult for him to bear that. He did not know what was going on. But whenever he stood on the edge of a peak, the angel Jibreel would appear to him and tell him that he was Allah's messenger. This would console him and restore to him full peace of mind. So then he would stop. So basically, he was confused, he was lost. Just put yourself in a situation such as that. That you are wondering what's going on and all of a sudden, no more news. You are definitely going to be concerned. And we learn that once the Prophet ﷺ, he returned to the cave of Hira in order to worship in solitude, because he would go there and have peace of mind, and while he was alone, he would busy himself in the worship of Allah. And he left the cave and began to descend the mountain. And another strange event took place at that point. The Prophet ﷺ described the event. He said that when I descended the mountain and came to the valley, I heard a voice saying, Muhammad ﷺ, you are the Prophet of Allah and I am Jibreel. So he heard that. He said, then I raised my head, and on the horizon I saw the angel who had come to me in the cave of Hira. Imagine, he saw the angel Jibreel in broad daylight now. And I was filled with awe. I was filled with awe and bowed towards the earth. And I hurried home to Khadija and asked her to wrap me. He said, Dathiruni, dathiruni. Wrap me up, wrap me up. And she put a blanket around me and also sprinkled some water on me. And it was at this time that the second revelation was sent to him, and which was the beginning ayat of Surah Al-Muddaththir. Ya ayyuhal Muddaththir. So why was he called Al-Muddaththir? Because he had wrapped himself up in his blanket. Because he was afraid, he was cold, he was nervous, he could not comprehend what was going on. Ya ayyuhal Muddaththir. And it was after this revelation that revelation began coming on a regular basis afterwards. During the first and second, there was a long gap, a long pause, and then after that, it began coming regularly. So what was it that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him? How was the responsibility of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained to him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal muddaththir, O muddaththir, qum fa'anzir, arise and warn. Now is not the time to rest. You must arise, you must get up in order to perform this mission. And you must have resolution, you must have courage. You cannot stay sleeping, you cannot stay lying down. Get up, qum, get up. Get up from what? From your sleeping place, from your relaxed position, from your laying position. Get up and fa'anzir, warn. Warn the people. Warn them against what? Against the punishment of the hereafter. Warn them against the consequences of shirk. Warn them against the consequences of disbelief. Warn them. Qum fa'anzir. So the first revelation was what? Iqra. And the second revelation was Qum fa'anzir. Tell me, how much of the Quran had been revealed between these two revelations? None. But we see that at the beginning, right at the beginning, what was the Prophet ﷺ told? Anzir, warn. Whatever you know, whatever knowledge you have, how much ever you know, you have to warn people. This is your responsibility. A person does not need to be a scholar, extremely learned, in order to warn people. Because if something has hit your heart, you can warn them. And we see so many examples of so many people who don't know much, but the warning has hit them, which is why they go on warning other people as well. So qum fa'anzir. In Surah Al-Muddaththir, we learned qumil layla, stand in the night. Why? In order to pray. And over here again, the same word is being used, qum. But why is this qum? For the purpose of da'wah. So a da'i, we see, he is told to stand. He cannot be relaxed. He cannot take life easy. He cannot do nothing, but rather he has to be standing. Because you see, the position of standing is very different from the position of lying down. When a person is lying down, he is relaxed. When a person is standing, he is busy doing something. So either stand up and pray, or stand up and warn. Because you cannot remain lying down anymore. You cannot remain sitting anymore. Once you know, you have to convey. Once you know, you have to tell people. And notice over here what has been said. Anzir, warn people. Warn them against what? About what? The hereafter. Because if you think about it, there are many, many problems that people face in this world. There are environmental issues, there are social issues, right? So many problems, and we see that awareness is being spread concerning them, right? People are being warned concerning them. Preserving energy, recycling, not abusing the resources of this earth, so on and so forth. People are spreading awareness concerning them. And yes, these are actual real problems. And people should be warned against them, because if they're not warned, people will face terrible consequences. But we see that out of all things that people must be warned against, what is the most important and essential? The matter of the hereafter. Because any problem of this dunya, any issue of this dunya, yes, it may be very important, it may be a big deal, however, it will come to an end with this dunya coming to an end. If you have environmental issues, if you're concerned about certain species going extinct, well, kullu man alayha fan. Everything is going to come to an end in this dunya anyway. This dunya is going to finish at the end anyway. However, what is most important is the matter of the akhirah, because that is eternal. So there are people who are learning about different issues, spreading awareness concerning different issues. Yes, it's important. However, the most important thing that people must be warned against is the matter of the hereafter. Because if a person is not successful there, then he is an eternal loser. If a person suffers loss over there, then that is the ultimate loss. Ultimate loss. In this dunya, maximum what happens? Some people will be deprived of good health. Some people will be deprived of good education, a good life. Okay. But if a person is deprived of Jannah in the hereafter, then that is ultimate failure. So we see that the first thing the messenger is told what? Qum fa'anzir. It's made very, very clear that what should be your focus? You have to warn people. Warn them concerning the hereafter. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. And your Lord, glorify. Meaning, glorify your Lord. رَبَّكَ. Rabb is mentioned first. And فَكَبِّرْ is mentioned second. رَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. Your Lord, glorify. It could have been said, glorify your Lord. But your Lord has been mentioned first. Why? In order to show the importance, the grandness of who? Of your Lord. Because when the Lord is mentioned first, it shows how grand He is, how great He is, how important He is. So, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. And your Lord, glorify. And kabbir, kabbara yukabbiru takbir. What does that mean? To mention the greatness of someone. To mention the glory, the greatness, the perfection of someone. So magnify your Lord, meaning say Allahu Akbar. What was the state of the people of Makkah? They were lost in idolatry. They were worshipping others besides Allah. And what is the Prophet ﷺ told to do? رَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. You should glorify your Lord. You should do takbir of your Lord. There are many beings that are highlighted, many things that are given importance, but your focus should be who? Your Lord. All of your activities, everything should be focused on what? Glorifying your Lord. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. Now if you think about it, a person can only do قُمْ فَأَنزِرْ. He can only rise and warn people when he understands the greatness of his Lord. When he understands the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When the greatness of Allah has settled in his heart. When that realization happens, only then he is able to warn people. Because whatever is in the heart is going to come on the tongue. Whatever you really feel in the heart, you're going to tell people about it. If something does not matter to you much, you're not going to tell other people about it. But if something really matters to you, you're definitely going to tell people about it. So the work of warning others can only be done by the one who realizes the greatness of Allah, whose heart is filled with the realization of the greatness of Allah. He's not impressed with the things of this dunya. He's not impressed by his own greatness. He's not impressed by the greatness of the people of the world, the things of this world. No. He is in awe of the greatness of Allah. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. So this is what a da'i must feel, and this is what he must promote as well. And if you think about it, what is the essence of our deen? What is the essence of the Qur'an? What does that teach us? The greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the attributes of Allah, His actions, His decisions, His commands, all of them, what do they reflect? His greatness, His perfection. So this is the essence of the deen. And if someone has not understood this, then he has not understood the deen. So وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ, and your Lord glorify. وَثِيَابَكَ, and your clothing, فَطَهِّرْ, then purify. Purify your clothing as well. Purify, clean your garments as well. Just imagine. This is one of the first teachings that were given to the Prophet ﷺ. The first thing is what? Warn. This is your responsibility. The second command is what? Glorify your Lord, magnify your Lord, because that's the purpose of your creation. You have been created to worship Allah. So do that yourself, and only then you will be able to tell others about it. And then, clean yourself. Clean your clothes. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. What does that show to us? The importance of cleanliness in our religion. The importance of cleanliness in our religion. ثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. Now what does it mean by thiyab over here? Thiyab, obviously, what does it mean? Clothes. So which clothes? The clothes that you're wearing. So meaning, keep your body clean, and along with your body, what else should you clean? Your clothes as well. Because sometimes a person's focus is only keeping his body clean. However, keeping the body clean alone is not sufficient. What is also very important? Keeping the clothes clean. For example, when a person is praying salah, he has to make sure that his body is clean and the clothing that he's wearing is also clean. Both are necessary. That is what completes tahara. And if either of the two is dirty, impure, then tahara is incomplete. So وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. Secondly, it has also been said that thiyabaka, thiyab over here does not just only refer to the clothes, but rather it also applies to one's akhlaq, one's manners. Why? Because just as the clothes of a person are visible, similarly his manners are his outward appearance. So, thiyabaka fatahhir, meaning purify, cleanse your outward appearance as well. Meaning purify your character. Your character must not be possessing of bad things. You must not have any pride or pretense or show off. Nothing like that. No. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. And remember, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى, the libas of taqwa, is it some physical garment? No. Taqwa is what is apparent on the person, what is visible on the person. Similarly, the akhlaq of a person is his outward appearance. So improve your outward appearance as well. Don't just focus on your clothing, but also focus on how you come before people, how they see you, how they perceive you, how you come across people. So وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. And fatahir, remember that the word tahara, this is used for cleanliness. And what kind of cleanliness is this? Mainly, the word tahara is used for physical cleanliness. And the word tazkiyah is used for purification of the nafs and the soul. So, fatahir, if we take the meaning of thiyab as clothing, that purify your clothing, clean them with what? With water. Just as it is necessary to keep your body clean, it is also necessary to keep your clothes clean as well. And there are many ayat in the Quran which show to us that cleanliness is obtained how? Through water. وَيُنَزِّلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً لِيُطَهِّرَكُمْ بِهِ. He sends down water from the sky so that He can clean you with it. There are many ayat in the Quran which show that the water is a means of obtaining purity. مَاءً طَهُورًا. Water that is ever clean and is also a means of obtaining cleanliness. Then وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. It has also been said that what it means is that عَمَلَكَ أَصْلِحْ, meaning your deeds, reform them, improve them, set them right. There is a statement in which it has been said that يُحْشَرُ الْمَرْءُ فِي ثَوْبِهِ, that a person will be raised up on the day of judgment in his thawb. Now, we know from other ahadith that people will be gathered how? Naked. So what does it mean by that thawb? Meaning his amal. Whatever amal he has done, whether it is khabith or it is tayyib, whatever kind of deeds he has done, that is the deeds that he will be raised with. So the word thiyab is also used for amal, deeds of a person. So وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, meaning rectify, set right your affairs, your actions. Then وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, it has also been said that what this means is that طَهِّرْ نَفْسَكَ مِنَ الذَّنْبِ, that purify your nafs from sin. And the nafs basically is being implied by what? By the word thiyab. Because the Arabs would call, like for example, a person who was very chaste, izar. What is the izar? The lower garment. Because an afif person is as though covered when he stays away from whatever is unlawful. So, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, meaning طَهِّرْ نَفْسَكَ مِنَ الذَّنْبِ. Cleanse your nafs from sin, meaning stay away from sin. And وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, there are many other meanings as well. However, what is most appropriate in this context is that keep your clothes clean, keep your outward appearance clean. Because when a person is doing da'wah, when he is calling people to Allah, he must appear before people in a good fashion as well. Because if his clothes are dirty, if his mouth smells bad, if his nails are unclean, then what will happen? What will happen? People will be repelled from him. Just think about it. You're talking to a person, and they're not that clean in their appearance, and they offer you some food. Would you like to take it? No way. Not at all. You go to a store to buy some clothes, and there's a person who really looks dirty. You don't want them to touch the clothes that you're buying. Similarly, if you go to a mechanic to get your car fixed, and he's the one with dirty hands, he's going to take your card and he's going to swipe it in the machine, you don't want him to touch your card. Isn't it? When you go for a job interview, how are you supposed to go? In your bedclothes? No. Then why is it that when we come to class, many times I see girls are wearing bedclothes under their abayas? I don't like it at all. You won't go like this to a job interview. You won't go like this to a friend's house, to a party. No. It looks very, very untidy. When under the abaya you have your pajamas on, you have your clothes on which are not even ironed properly. Be careful about how you dress up. Be careful about that. This is part of respecting the deen. This is part of respecting the knowledge that you're learning. Just think about it. The Prophet ﷺ started off the first things, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, keep your clothes clean. Would you ever walk around your home like this? No. Would you walk around your friends like this? No. You have your clothes ironed, crisp and clean, all matching, nice. We put in so much effort when we're going to parties and weddings, but when it comes to the Quran class, we're like, oh, no big deal. Okay, I'm not saying dress up fancily under your abaya all the time, no. But at least what you're wearing should be decent, should be clean. It should not be something that you wore last night and now it's all crumbled up and it smells of sleep, it smells of your bed. No, you should be fresh. It affects other people for sure, but it affects you the most. Because if you are not clean yourself, then you will not be able to pay much attention. You don't feel as fresh. You know, like in the morning when you get up, you shower, you change, you dress up nicely, you have your nails cut, you're all clean, you feel fresh. You get into the mode of working and being productive. And when you're in your pajamas and you just put an abaya on, a hijab that's not even ironed properly, that you've been wearing since last week perhaps, then, you're not going to feel good. When you shower, when you change, when you keep yourself clean, then automatically you become more fresh and productive. Then all that laziness goes away. Remember that hadith in which we learned that when a person goes to sleep, then shaitan ties knots on him. And then when he gets up and he says the dua and he goes and does wudu and he performs salah, then those knots are removed. So why perform wudu? Why? To freshen up. Sometimes we make this excuse that we're very busy and we don't have much time. But if you think about it, there are so many scholars of the past who paid so much attention on their physical appearance as well, despite the fact that they were much more busier than us. So, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, keep your clothes clean. Yes, wash your face, brush your teeth, clean up your body. However, keep your clothes clean as well. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. And, really much effort doesn't have to be put in. All you have to do is just keep your nice abaya for the class and keep it only for the class. As soon as you get home, take it off. Don't cook in that. Don't start cleaning in that. As soon as you get home, take it off so it stays clean. It stays fresh. So, وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, keep your clothing clean. Because many times when we get busy in our work, we neglect this aspect. When we get busy with our studying, we neglect this. This should not be neglected. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِرْ. It will affect you, it will affect other people as well. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. And uncleanliness, avoid it. With regards to uncleanliness, completely avoid it. Ar-rujz. Rujz is from the root letters Ra, Jim, Zai. And the word rujz, rijz, rijz, rujz with a dhamma, or rijz with a kasra under the Ra, or rijz with the sin at the end and not a Zai. These words are very similar. And many scholars say that they in fact mean the same thing. It's just that you can change the spelling, you can change the word slightly, and it basically means the same thing. And what does it mean? Filth, dirt, and it's such filth that could be tangible and it could also be intangible. Physical filth as well as intangible filth. And rujz or rijz is also used for punishment. It's not just used for filth, but it's also used for punishment. What kind of punishment? Filthy punishment that we sent down from the sky. Rijzam minas sama bima kanu yabsuqoon. So what is rijz? Punishment as well, that is filthy. So warrujza fahjur. And fahjur, ha jim ra, wahjurhum hajran jamila. What does it mean? Avoid completely. So what kind of rijz is this? What kind of filth is this? First of all, it has been said with regards to this filth, this impurity, that it refers to the filth of polytheism, the filth of shirk. Because innamal mushrikuna najas and rijsun min amal ash-shaytan. Similarly, we learn that rijz or rujz is not just the filth of polytheism, is not just the filth of shirk, but rather it also applies to the waswasa of shaitan. The waswasa of shaitan. Because we learn in the Quran, وَيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمْ رِجْزَ الشَّيْطَانِ. Now what is the rijz of shaitan? The waswasa that he casts in the heart of a person, because that also makes a person dirty from inside. It makes his thinking, makes his heart, his mind dirty, corrupt. His heart was clean, and all of a sudden the shaitan casts waswasa, and because of that waswasa his thinking is corrupted, becomes dirty. So ar-rujz also refers to the waswas of shaitan. So rujza, fahjur, completely avoid. Now how can you avoid the waswasa of shaitan? That don't follow it up. Don't listen, don't obey, don't follow. Similarly, rujz also applies to every kind of sin, every kind of act of disobedience. So, وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. So basically, this is reinforcing the previous command. On one hand, what is being said? وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. And on the other hand, what is being said? وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. So whether it is physical impurity, spiritual impurity, apparent impurity, hidden impurity, that which is of the body or that which is of the clothes, that which is physical or that which is of the heart and mind, leave all sorts of filth. Just stay away from it. Don't go near dirty stuff. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. Stay away from it. وَلَا تَمْنُنْ. And do not confer favor. تَسْتَكْثِرْ. In order to acquire more. لَا تَمْنُنْ. Tamnun from the root letters? Mim, nun, nun. And what does man mean? To show favor. And man also means to remind someone of a favor that has been shown to them. So la tamnun over here means, the first meaning, which is, do not show favor in order to tastakthir. Tastakthir from istikthar. And what does that mean? To seek kathra, to seek more, to desire to multiply. So do not show favor to someone in order to get more in return. So for example, do not give a gift seeking better than what you give. That if I give a gift to so-and-so person, next time they come, they will bring me something much better. No, don't do this. La tamnun tastakthir. Don't do good in order to demand more in return. And also, la tamnun tastakthir, with regards to the Prophet ﷺ, he had been given a huge favor, which was prophethood. Now, when a person has superiority over others because he has a status that others don't have, he has a position that others don't have, he has something that others don't have, then what happens? Because of that, he can do certain things which other people cannot do. So, with your nubuwwah, don't do something, like for example, da'wah ilallah, in order to seek benefit from people. That you're calling people to Allah. Why? So that you can make money, so that you can gain praise, so that you can become famous. No. This cannot be the way of the da'i. When he works for the sake of Allah, he does not expect anything in return. He does not want anything in return from the people. His niyyah, his main goal is not to get something in return. If he does get something in return, that's a side benefit. Like for example, a person is working in the way of Allah, he's paid for it. Now that paycheck is not his goal. That's just a side benefit. It should not be the main niyyah as to why he's working. So لا تمنن تستكثر, don't confer favor on others to acquire more from them. Now every person has his hidden desire. If I do good to so and so, they will be good to me. If I give a gift to them, they will give a gift to me. If I smile at them, they should smile at me. Every person has this kind of desire. But a da'i, he must get rid of this desire. Because if a person has this in his heart, expecting in return, then he cannot do the work of this deen. He cannot call people to Allah. Because in order to do da'wah ilallah, you have to be a selfless person. You cannot be concerned about yourself. You have to be a giving person. If you start expecting in return, you cannot go for long. For example, parents. What is their attitude towards their children? Constantly giving. If they start expecting a lot in return, can they be good towards their children? They cannot be. They cannot continue for long. Which is why we see that those who do expect from their children, what happens? Their children have hardly become adults. They're in their teens. And the parents are expecting so much from the children that you also contribute, you also pay rent, you also make money. I mean, one is that there is a need and the other is that there is no need. Parents independent, but still they demand from the children. So, such a relationship, can it last for longer? No. We see that such children begin to resent their parents. They say, fine, I'm going to leave. I'm going to live independently. So, the work of da'wah cannot be done unless a person becomes a giving personality, a giving person. If you start expecting in return, you cannot work for long. So, وَلَا تَمْنُن تَسْتَكْثِرْ. Don't give in order to acquire more. وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. And for your Lord, be patient. وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. For the sake of your Lord, endure with patience. Whatever difficulties, whatever problems, whatever hardships you endure in this way, you have to be patient. For whose sake? For the sake of Allah. Not for the sake of other people. That they will have pity on you and they will listen to you. Or they will have pity on you and they will help you. No. You should be patient for the sake of Allah. Because when a person is patient for the sake of Allah, then Allah will help him as well. Now the question is, what does it mean by being patient for the sake of Allah? وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. What do you think? That any harm, any difficulty that a person faces, he does not react negatively on it. Rather, he accepts it and he hopes for reward from who? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is sabr for the sake of Allah. وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ also means that if a person faces a hardship in the way of Allah, don't let these hardships stop you. Because remember, sabr is of different types, mainly three. That one is over ita'ah. And what does that mean? That a person continues to do ita'ah despite the hardships, despite the difficulty. Second is to do sabr away from, in order to stay away from ma'asiyah, from disobedience. Because you have to control yourself over there as well. And thirdly, over hardships and trials and difficulties. So a person accepts the qadr of Allah. So وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. Be patient for the sake of your Lord, hoping for reward from Him, not from other people. And the thing is, when a person is patient for the sake of Allah, then he can be patient for longer. And if he's patient for the sake of people, then what happens? After some time, he's like, why don't they get it? Don't they get it? I'm being so patient. I haven't said anything all this time. I've been smiling. I haven't had any argument. I haven't demanded anything. Don't they get it? So, when a person is patient for the sake of others, his patience will expire very soon. But when it's for the sake of Allah, then it will be longer. This is only possible with the tawfiq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And only then a person can be patient. We learned earlier, فَاصْبِرْ صَبْرًا جَمِيلًا. So وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. Recitation.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها المدثر قم فأنذر وربك فكبر وثيابك فطهر والرجز فاهجر ولا تمنن تستكثر وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ.
When a person realizes that whatever difficulty he's facing, any hardship, it's happening with the permission of Allah. And especially if it comes in the way of Allah, then a person must be patient. Like for example, when a person is gaining knowledge, and in that he is tested, one test after the other, literally one test after the other, then for that also he has to be patient for whose sake? For the sake of Allah. Because what's the other option? Leave it. That's the other option, right? Don't be patient over it. Just leave it. Okay, if you leave it, then what are you doing for the sake of Allah? Nothing. Or a person starts criticizing that why is it like this and why is it like that. Okay, start criticizing, lose your ajr. So, whenever a person faces any difficulty, what should his behavior be? وَلِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. Be patient for the sake of Allah. And لِرَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ has also been understood as لِثَوَابِ رَبِّكَ فَاصْبِرْ. For the reward from your Lord, be patient. If you want to be rewarded for this difficulty, then be patient. And the thing is that reward cannot be attained except with sabr. No pain, no gain. Now we see in these ayat that 6 things the Prophet ﷺ was instructed with. 6 things he was instructed with. 6 things he was commanded. And this shows to us that a da'i, when he goes out in the way of Allah, when he starts his journey in the way of Allah, whether it is learning the deen or it is calling people to Allah, anything he's doing, these 6 things, these 6 characteristics, he must develop in himself. He must focus on them. That first of all, warn people about what? About the akhirah. That should be your greatest concern. And that should be your main concern when you're calling people. Warn them against the akhirah. There are people who will focus on other issues as well, which I'm not saying are unimportant. Like for example, educate people concerning fiqh, educate them concerning Islamic history, for example, the differences amongst the scholars. Okay, important. However, it should not be the main focus. Remember that. Even through that, warn people about what? The akhirah. Connect everything with what? The matter of the hereafter, because only then the da'wah is complete. Otherwise, what will happen? The spirit will be lost. It will carry no meaning. Similarly, there are people whose focus is on teaching the Qur'an, the recitation of the Qur'an, memorization of the Qur'an, the grammar of the Qur'an, whatever it is that you're doing about the deen, anything you're doing, your main focus is what? Improve your akhirah, improve other people's akhirah. So connect everything with that. Qum fa'anzir. That should be your main focus, your primary focus. Then secondly, وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. That do that which shows the greatness of Allah. Every activity, every effort, what should be the objective behind it? To manifest the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not that a person is concerned about making their own name great, so that their name shows up when somebody does a Google search, so that their institute is highlighted, their efforts are highlighted, their efforts are appreciated. No. The main focus is what? وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. Whatever you're doing, any effort you're putting in, any task you're performing, anything you're making, whether it is making a presentation, or preparing a speech, or setting up a classroom, anything, what should be the goal? وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. You're doing this to glorify Allah, to show His greatness. And you see, when this is the goal, then a person brings quality in his efforts as well. Because whatever he does, he's doing it in order to show the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when he's doing it to show the greatness of Allah, what kind of deeds will he perform? Those that are of average level? Mediocre? No. He wants to do the best. So when you're doing anything for the deen, do it at the very best level. Because whose name are you glorifying? the name of Allah. And just think about it. What does that deserve? That you do the very best. So anything you write, anything you make, anything you draw, anything you design, do it in the best way. وَرَبَّكَ فَكَبِّرْ. The third thing that is mentioned is وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ. So stay away from every kind of filth, every kind of evil. Keep your clothes clean. Develop good habits. Stay away from bad habits. Stay away from bad manners. Stay away from bad actions. وَالرُّجْزَ فَهْجُرْ. That also leave every kind of filth. You should have good akhlaq. And then do good without expecting anything in return. This is also very, very important. And be patient over the difficulties and hardships. Be patient over the negative reaction of people. Because without it, a person cannot do the work of the deen. So these 6 things are essential. And a person must remind himself of these things regularly. Because this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded His Messenger. And if you think about it, the address, how is the Prophet ﷺ addressed in these ayat? Ya ayyuhal muddaththir. Who is muddaththir? Someone who is wrapped up in a blanket, lying down comfortably. And then what is that? Qum, stand up. So what does it show? That once the Qur'an has reached a person, once a person has read the Qur'an, he cannot rest anymore. He cannot stay unproductive. He cannot remain lazy. He cannot remain useless. No way. He has to become more active. More active how? In his personal life. More active in his social life. Not that he's partying, but rather he is busy doing something for the sake of Allah, calling people to the deen, and all of his efforts, all of his striving must be dedicated to glorifying Allah, warning people of the hereafter. So qum fa'anzir. Once the Qur'an has reached you, you cannot stay in bed for long. You have to get up and do something.